Marketing Debate 3. We are a group with Oni, Andre, Sebastian, and myself, Matthew. The topic we are discussing today is over the Mayo Clinic. Do conflicts of interest exist between wanting to make patients happy and providing the best medical care possible? Why or why not? For the pro side, we have Andre and Sebastian. For the against, we have myself and Oni. First to go will be Andre for the pro side, and then Oni. Okay.
Yeah, so I agree with the statement that conflicts of interest do exist between making the patient happy and providing the best medical care. In some cases, doctors can be influenced by, for example, emotional attachment to the patient. So it could be like a family member or just someone that they know. So then they would have the best interest at heart to do their best, and they wouldn't think as much about the financial side. And there's also a possibility that the doctor may own like a business or be partner with like pharmacies or smaller businesses. So then they would try to send their customers to those businesses so they can benefit from that as well. But in the Mayo Clinic case, Mayo Clinic is a non-profit organization, and they invest their money into research and education programs. And as they stated, they have the best interest at heart for the patients. And yeah.
Okay, thank you. Now for the against side, Oni will make his introduction.
Yeah, thank you everyone. My name is Oni. I'm here to stand against the topic before us, that says conflicts of interest do exist between the medical doctors or the physician and the expertise and the care for the patients. I want to speak against it because we can see it in the case study of Mayo Clinic that they exhibit a good competence, and at the same time they give the best to the patients. The reason why their home is made possible is that the company or the clinics is non-for-profit clinic, and any proceed that came or that comes from that company or from that clinic is invested in the research work, and the research work, the breakthrough research is quickly implemented in the quality care of the patients. So there's a balance between research and good quality research and the care of the patient. So they are tailoring their research towards satisfying the patients. And Mayo Clinic also offer educational program through its five schools, and many of these physicians come up through these programs with Mayo's philosophies ingrained in their heads. So they are already part of the system. So I know that this thing can be made possible, and they have a motto that says the best interest of the patients is the only interest to be considered. So now I have my points. Number one, the power. There is the power of the set education, and we can see it in Mayo Clinic. They have that power, and they have the power of ethical standard in returning for maintaining competence, being trustworthy and ethical, and working to the benefit of patients and society. Number two, the conflict of interest will not arise if the physicians are well paid. We can see it in the Mayo's clinic that they have a basic, they have basic salary. They are not paid based on the work they do, and they also work in team. They have teamwork, and physicians know financial relationship with other industry outside and are healthy. They are not competing with other organization like public agency. They are satisfied with their salary. Then we also have national policy that can help in this regard. So it can be effective when there's a national policy that governs the clinics or the hospital where someone is working. That they will take care of the competence of the medical practitioners and also take care of the care of the patients. Then we can also set up a voluntary monitoring group that can help to stand as a watchdog to see that things work well, both for the physicians and also for the patients. So that is my argument for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Andre, do you have any response to any of his arguments?
Yeah, so I do agree with some things. So as he was saying, and as I mentioned as well, it's a non-profit organization. So obviously the doctors will try their best interest at heart to do their best with their patients. And I do agree that in this case with the Mayo Clinic, there isn't as much conflict of interest, but in other cases, as I explained, I feel like some doctors could be biased towards some patients, or not biased, but they might not treat everyone the same. But yeah, I think that I agree with some things that he said.
Okay, great. And Oni, any response?
Yes, I think if we look at the other clinics, sorry for my slip of tongue, other clinics or hospitals, they may not have the same system that Mayo Clinic has. But if there is a government policy that says that even other clinics that are profit oriented, they should also maintain the care of their patients. And if they go against the law of the land, there will be punishment. With this, they will maintain both quality and care.
Okay.
Do you agree with me?
I agree with you, yes, but do you think, like as I mentioned, let's say the person has an emotional attachment to the doctor, or let's say it's a member of the family, do you not think that they would try their best to make sure that the person is okay? I know they should try that with everyone, and they should. I do agree with you. It should be like you said, but do you think in every place?
Yeah. There's possibility of little conflict of interest in the issue of family attachments or relationship, but in general, most of the patients that doctors or physicians see per year, they are mostly from outsiders. So we are talking in general how patients can care how doctors can care for the patients and at the same time give their best, regardless of their salary. The salary can play a role in having conflict of interest. If like for instance, a doctor or a physician is being paid based on the numbers of patients he sees per year, it will have conflict of interest. But where their salaries are being determined by the organization, that will help. Take for instance the issue of Mayo Clinics. They work in team, and there's no one that is competing with one another because they are satisfied with their salary. Where there is no satisfaction, then there will be conflict of interest. But when there is satisfaction of salary, the conflict of interest will be minimized. It may not be totally eradicated, but it will be highly minimized. I hope I can convince you with my arguments.
All right. Thank you, Oni and Andre. Now we'll move on to the second part of Andre and I's supporting arguments. Sebastian, if you'd like to start, we'll go next.
Yeah, I think the most things have been said already. I mostly agree with Andre. Yeah, I don't know. I think he's right about the fact that they could be a little bit biased. And I don't really have much to add to Andre's argument.
Okay. So going along with what Oni said, I'll kind of help add to it. There's a lot of different things in terms of psychology and how psychologically many people don't make it through medical care because they don't feel cared for, they don't feel in the right mind. A right mindset is incredible what it can do to people who are going to surgery or even dying. A lot of people who have no hope often die in surgery because their body just doesn't want to fight anymore. But providing the best, focusing on patient care more than anything, also because it creates an open and honest relationship, first of all, because the patient feels comfortable. Often when I go to the doctor, I feel like it's really detached. Everything's gross, not gross, but sterilized and just kind of like, I don't want to touch anything. It's intimidating going to the doctor, but I think Mayo Clinic looks to really create a more inviting environment and create trust and open honesty with the patients. Through that, creates a better surgery, right? If a doctor doesn't know about something that the patient just withheld because they don't trust them, that's complications, and that creates a big complication with the family, with the treatment, especially if surgery is needed. So I think while outside of the Mayo Clinic, people have not done this too well. Bringing that care takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of money to make that care possible. But it's good to implement it because it creates a better relationship with the patients, and that's really how you get the best medical care. Because you can have the greatest medical care in the world, but if you don't have a good staff, people aren't going to feel very welcomed to your hospital. Any response, Sebastian?
I agree, but I think it can be a little bit weird if they have like a fixed. Maybe they will think like, oh, I can work less because I just get the same amount of salary each month. So that could like maybe affect the amount of work the doctors put in. Like if you paid by each patient, then you can say, oh, I'm going to work more, so I earn a lot more money. So that could like affect some things. I think so.
It's true. Without competitiveness of salary, it's hard to say you're going to give your best because you just want to, but maybe you're not feeling up to it. Maybe you're not feeling. So that's definitely a great argument in terms of a fixed salary. There's no competitiveness, but maybe you need that competitiveness in the medical field to kind of do well and do better, because almost nothing was created, nothing was made better because there was no competition, right? It's when competition is involved that things are made better. So that's definitely a great argument against or for the divide of patient happiness and best medical care. But again, just going back to a fixed salary, maybe we really have to look at it. It's hard to look at it from a Belgian perspective and then an American perspective because it's capitalism and socialism. It's a big divide there. Because in America, you can just compete for better salaries. Doctors can get paid in the millions, where maybe your salary is limited at Mayo Clinic to, what would you rather make $1 million competing for it, or would you rather make $300,000 not competing for it, just to make your patients feel better? And that's a really, really difficult divide to make. But again, I think patient happiness is what brings medical care to the best possible. So it's kind of like a hotel and a hospital. Like, what do you want to stay at? But if you want to make your patients better and provide the best medical care, you have to create competition. And so that's definitely something I agree with, because it's so hard to bring both of those together. Like working together and against each other. But competitiveness also has its disadvantages in that if you have to divide your payment, say you need a specialist. You're not a specialist, you have to call a specialist. So, but you have to divide the payment. now you're really reluctant to call a specialist because you want to get the full payment, not the half payment.
Mm-hmm.
So the competitiveness drives like industry, but it also lowers the best medical care possible. And so it's really difficult, I think, to bring both of those together.
Yeah, sorry, can I hide something?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, if I will try to say something about the issue of salaries and competition in medicine, I think we need to strike the balance. We need to make a compromise because when you are going into competition in medicine, you are talking about human life, and it's a bit dangerous. So the most important thing is that the patients, they are at best. Even though the issue of salary is there, but it depends on the salary we are talking about. The salary you are pegged to maybe is it just a meager sum of money or a lot of money?
Yeah.
Depend on what you are talking about. If you are being paid sufficiently as a salary without even doing much, and your work is being monitored, as I said earlier. It's not that you are just being given salary and your work is not being monitored. Your work is being monitored constantly. I think it's going to be fair on the patients. The patient will get the best. At the same time, you are satisfied with your salary.
Yeah.
I read an article that talks about a doctor sees about 200 people per year, and each person spend almost $500 per year in America.
Mm-hmm.
Now, looking at that means a doctor, a physician can bring in about $10 million, and he's not getting that $10 million.
Yeah.
He's not even getting up to that, up to half of the money.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So what I'm saying now is that when you peg a salary, and the doctors are well trained, and it's ingrained in their system that the care of the patients is important.
Yeah.
The two works hand in hand, and if the two are well balanced, you have a good clinic. That's my argument.
Yeah. All right. So, Andre or Sebastian, did you want to make any kind of closing statement? We're coming to the end. So,
I was just gonna say about what Oni was saying about the salary. Now, let's say, like you were saying, a doctor would make, I don't know, a few hundred thousands or whatever. Like that's a lot. They'd be more motivated, but that's not. Their doctors are not the only ones part of the staff. There's also nurses and other people, and nurses will be making like even up to 10 times less than doctor would. So do you think they would be just as motivated as a doctor to always do their best and have the best interest at heart for the patients?
Yeah, so thank you very much, Andre. And that's why I said the issue of money is not so important. It's the core value system of the clinic, not only for the doctors, but for other staffs, nurses, the secretary, anyone that is working. They know that this is a core value system of this Mayo Clinic. Like we've seen that in case study. And they are the best in the nation. They are very, very renowned for that. They are leading hospital. So because they know that this is our core value, anybody coming into that clinic as a staff knows what he or she is expected to do.
Yeah.
The generally accepted norms. So that's why I said the training is important. The understanding is important. The money also is important. And the value for human lives is important.
Yeah. Okay. So we're just out of time. So I just, in closing, want to kind of bring everything to a wrap. Seems like we disagree and agree on some points. The biggest point being the salary and the money motivation. But I guess our solve for that is that we have a reputation for only providing a salary and only seeking out people who want to do the best without the salary. You do sacrifice competitiveness and medical advancement at some point, but maybe it can be for the best for patient care, and we leave huge medical advancements to other research facilities. So that is our debate, and in conclusion, And yeah, thank you very much.
Okay.
All right.